An year of VTubing as a genie is ending. So hear me out. I have a story to tell you. I can't do it in under a minute, so tap and hold here to speed things up if you're in a rush. I quit my job in corporate in August last year, which means I'm 2 months away from my personal deadline to figure out what I really want to do. This invisible deadline has been hanging over my head for the last 2 weeks, and in total honesty, I am back in the job pool looking for work. It's unsavory and hectic, and getting back into writing cover letters to job openings in a new country where your previous track record doesn't really matter to HR teams who will not acknowledge your applications, ignore your emails, and leave you screaming into the void, making getting a rejection letter feel incredibly gratifying. And personally, there's also a lot of racial anxiety on my side because my name sounds Indian and there's a lot of prejudice against applicants that are immigrants. I type my application first line and it's fucking Sajnisiyopati Subramaniam and instant strike. What can I do? That's not my real name, but you get the gist. Personally, since I would be in the marketing or advertising industry, having kind of inherent knowledge about the country, the language, the culture is necessary to a certain realistic extent. I'm definitely handicapped against other local candidates I would face. But here's what's important for you to know. I've had an above average growth for a complete newbie to the VTubing scene, whether it's viewership, community growth, or income. I'm incredibly grateful for your love and support. It's the best thing I've done in my life, complete artistic freedom, and somehow there are people watching, supporting me, commissioning me. It really blows my mind. But it is also one of the hardest things I've done in my life. I am a one-woman team, and just the social media aspect can be incredibly demanding, and it's definitely eating into the time I could be improving my creative skills, and there's such a messy tangle of self-worth in here, especially since I started to call myself an artist. Despite achieving some significant goals in the last 2 months, VGen verification, 2K on TikTok, new bit by bit sessions, not to mention a few months prior to that, I won a small creators award as the most informational VR chat creator. Still, I feel like my streams or my content hasn't had the kind of improvement I would have liked to see from Q1 to Q2 retrospectively. So I always kind of thoroughly review my streaming process from a 3-month quarterly basis. So that's Q1, Q2, it's kind of hard-coded corporate shit. And I feel like there hasn't been much improvement. And I expected to have a custom VTuber model at the end of the year of streaming, one of those arbitrary goals, and I have only made baby steps in that direction. And overall, I feel quite stagnant in the stuff I produce as a streamer, and I feel quite a bit of pressure in these last few months, and now I am bracing myself to freshly juggle job applications and rejections all over again. And this is all not so easy to bring up during streaming, especially since I don't want to treat my streams or my TikTok or YouTube as a place for me to vent. And I started making TikToks as vlogs, and sometimes it's just good to be honest and tell you what's happening behind the scenes. This week, I had pretty much cancelled all of my streams because all of this was brewing in my mind and I was feeling pretty overwhelmed. And maybe you're wondering if I quit or if I continue streaming, and honestly, I don't know. I don't mean to quit, and I don't want to quit. But there might be a different kind of compromise coming up. But for now, I don't know what that is. I just need to take some time, remind myself that it's not so serious. I'm literally a VTuber. And once my spirits are back up, we can figure it out again. The whole thing is, I'm not upset or I'm not sad. I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed. And I know that whatever I do now will kind of define the trajectory of the rest of my streaming and creative journey. So just a little under pressure and under the weather. So I'll be fine. But it's been a year, so how are you? How has things changed for you in the past year since I got to know you? It's not quite a year yet, but it'll be a year soon. But I tend to, have some buffer. It's good to start thinking about what you have to do in the future before the future becomes now. But here's what's important for you to know. Bruh.